Hey everyone, uh, I'm glad to see you here on our YouTube channel, interested in watching our session. Before we go on with the session, I would just like to tell you a little bit about Codaplex, in case you're not aware. So, Codaplex is a non-profit organization that we are building with the mission to improve the state of tech education across India. And the way we aim to do that is by helping more and more people learn modern technologies, making it easier for them to learn various technologies and help them get a job or build their career in tech free of cost, right? So the what we do is we manage multiple developer communities and we organize frequent sessions on various topics. We invite speakers and we organize talk sessions, workshops on a range of topics from web development to mobile, data science, AI, security, privacy, cloud native, open source, everything basically. And we have about 15,000 people in total across all developer communities that we manage. And we also have a very active chat room. So you can join this chat room and share resources, ask questions. We have all different sorts of channels. We have a channel for posting job openings. We have a general discussions, important discussions sort of a channel, off-topic channel for casual conversations, upcoming events that are happening, open source related conversations. Then we have channels specific to different domains of tech like web dev, mobile, cloud native, various programming languages, computer science, AI, data science, decentralization, information security. If you're interested in any particular topic and you would like a channel dedicated for the topic, we can create that as well, depending on the level of engagement that we see in the community for that topic. So if you would like to join this channel, you can go to this URL, chat.codaplex.org. That is the invite link, and you should be able to see this chat room. You will have to sign up on Discord as well, and then you can see this chat room. And you'll be able to see all the other members who are online at that time as well. You'll be able to see me here as well, and you can message me directly on Discord as well if you would like to reach out to me. The next thing is, if you're not already a part of our Meetup group, make sure you join that. The link for that is meetup.com/codaplex, as you can see. And you can join this Meetup group and you will get updates for any future events, meetups that we organize because we post them here directly. You can RSVP to them here. The next thing is, so we are actively, since we organize so many events and sessions, we are constantly actively looking for tech speakers. So if you are interested in giving a talk on any topic, giving a session, a workshop, whatever, if you are interested in sharing your knowledge, or if you know anyone else who is a good speaker, who's interested in speaking, and sharing their knowledge, then I would suggest you to go to this link bit.ly slash HYD-tech-speakers, which should redirect you to this form. This is a form that is shared among pretty much most of the developer tech communities in Hyderabad. So if you submit this form, then any of these communities can reach out to you in the future to invite you to give a talk or session on any topic for any future offline online event. So make sure you check that out. And finally, I want to tell you about our crowdfunding campaign. So because we are a nonprofit organization and all the work we do is free of cost, and because we also do this work full time, we are trying to rely on donations from our community members to sustain ourselves and to keep doing the work we do. So if you personally find any value in the work we do, if you appreciate it, if you want to support it, then it, we would really appreciate if you would consider making a contribution. And honestly, it's not really about the amount that you contribute. It's more about the gesture of contributing, because it shows us that we are doing some work that people are finding valuable, that they really appreciate, and they want to support, right? So even if it's a very, very small amount, it's absolutely fine, because it validates our work and encourages us to keep going, keep doing the work we're doing. So you can go to this link, bit.ly slash support hyphen CPX, and it should redirect you to our crowdfunding page, which is donate.codaplex.org slash crowdfund slash support hyphen codaplex. And you can make a donation contribution here. It will charge you. So we have added 2.36%, which is the processing fee for the payment gateway we are using. and you should be able to see your name and contribution on the list here as well. If you face any issues with this page, you can reach out to me on Discord and let me know about it as well. So that's about it from my end. And also, finally, if you're interested in helping me or working with me in organizing any online sessions, you can reach out to me on Discord as well. We are looking for a few volunteers as well. So yes, that's about it from my end. And now we can go forward with the session. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and I hope all of you are doing well, staying safe. I think this community seems to be very vibrant. 15,000 folks as part of the community seems to be a pretty big number for a technology forum. So I think a lot of new technologies that are getting added to this. I see that in Kapil's intro, so pretty exciting to know that. So today's topic, as Kapil was saying, is more about how to make microservices secure, right? Truly secure. And the speakers are Srikanth Upputuri and Srinivas Munigala. Both of them work on a rating platform for Verizon. This rating platform is pretty huge in terms of the volume of data that it processes every day. We process close to 1 billion records, usage records rated through that platform. So during these times, security is of paramount importance for the applications. And over the last few years, we've been transforming this platform to make it scalable in terms of handling the volume, but not just in scale, but it's also important to keep the data secure, because a lot of the information that is processed through this platform is highly sensitive for customers, right? So it's extremely important for us to make sure that the services that we have around this platform are secure. So without further ado, I would pass it on to Srikanth and Srini to pick it up and talk about how they've made this microservices scalable and also secure. Go ahead, Srikanth. Thanks for actually doing this tech talk today. Go ahead, Srikanth and Srini.
Myself, yeah, I'm giving my brief introduction. Myself, Srinivas Munigala. I've been working from Verizon from last 3 years, and I've been involved, as Sham said, I've been involving was part of JITR rating and JITR rating part. And so, as we all know, in current trend, we are moving from monolithic architecture to microservice. And why we are going to a microservice? It is as our trend is changing technology day by day, and also part of best secure. What the best secure means is how we secure our applications in day-to-day trend. As the technology is changing, at the same time, security has a high priority. So we need to think of it. So whenever you change the technology, at the same time, it's equally more important than how to secure our applications. So similarly, Elia, as just we recap why we Microservice, not very in detail, like just giving a brief introduction, why microservice and all that stuff. So microservice, as we know, it's a very light and it has its own.
Are you presenting the slide? Because I couldn't see.
Sorry. Share again.
Okay. Now you unpresented. You are like not sharing anything.
Now it's sharing?
Yeah, now it's coming up.
Sorry. Okay. So seeing, Naveen?
Yes. Can you put it in presentation mode so that it will be visible on the right corner?
Yeah. Thank you. So as we know, just giving the brief introduction, why the microservice and what the purpose of the microservice. So as we know, the microservice is a distributed architecture, and it is very is loosely coupled and independently developed by across the teams or modules, and it can be organized together. So it is as a trend, we are going to fast the market. These are new trend. When we are having school and days, we have the delay software methodology like ordinary way. but now the trend is changing. We need to be in a time to the fast to the market and be competitive in the market world. So for to making our, even in our internal business, to make it, to keep it as other as a competitor, so we need to have adopt new technologies, new trends, all that stuff. So for which we also moving to the microservice as a cloud and distributed architecture. So at the same time, and now comes to the how we secure our microservice. So it is very light compared to monolithical architectures where we have all kind of security firewall at one place, and inside that we need to have different layers of security and all that stuff. So now this is a very lightweight. If you want to incorporate a simple microservice to have all this firewall and security, it will becoming to a monolithic. So which is again, we are going away from the microservice. So we should have cream to our microservice, at the same time the security as well. So for this, so our security should not be reassembled as a monolithical, and it should not degrade the application performance, and also you should not reinvent any crypto coding kind of stuff where it will take more time, more testing, more effort, and it will delay to the market. And also same thing, and also it should not restrict to our any technology wise, like selecting Java, Python, or any new technology. We should adopt new language, new technology without restricting to any of the platforms. So this is the, and at the same time, so now we are going to how we are going to achieve the security kind of for a microservice, how we can secure our microservice. So there are few techniques we are being experienced. Me and Srikanth was analyzing it at the same time, and also within by seeing this various market trends. So these are the few techniques we are going to cover as a part of case studies for the best secure. One is the API gateway, how we can API gateway works into our microservice, and secure the communication between the microservice. At the same time, the security is also not only the firewall or infrastructure team. At the same time, it's an individual developer point of view also we need to think security. So how we need to secure our application, and this microservice should get out of the public network to be secure in our internal infrastructure, and how we encrypt our passwords, like connecting to the DBs, how we encrypted, how we centralize control, and also these are distributed. So to have into a centralized password control, I think Srikanth will cover more detail about this session about the password encryption and centralized control. And security scanning tools. And at the same time, as we develop independent microservice, we have a standard security license tools. We use it usually like Black Duck, 45 Scan. What are the different tools we use for our microservice complete development to go through the security clearance. So we used to run all this. So those are automatic. Those are auto scanning kind of. We don't have any manual intervention. So once we have start developing and put build, so it automatically scan our applications, the vulnerability and all that. So these are the few techniques we need to adapt in our microservice to make our microservice more secure. And going to the next slide, this is the why we selected the API gateway is one of the use case for this best secure. So as we know, apart from the security point of view, the cloud infrastructure provider, the AWS or any, they will also provide the few security apps in terms of infrastructure. At the same time, our microservice level, we should have a single. So we should have our own internal kind of micro security. So whenever we have one API gateway, this is one of the use case we selected, where it's an entry point to our network of the cloud platform. So we'll whenever the external customer or any applications where interact to our internal microservice, we should be one gateway where it's a microservice which will control restrict the access of the individual clients or a security point of view, and for which we can have a authorization server. Again, we can have one microservice we can develop as an authorization server, like authentication and authorization, where whenever the incoming request, the API gateway send the request to our authorization server and get the feedback from as a JWK, it's a JSON web tool, where we have a token will be assigned to that particular requester. And using that token, we can do the further communication, like based on the request, right? Whenever the external customer requires for any, well, let's take example of online module where we have a store microservice. We have different microservices like inventory microservice, accounting, like customer information microservice, and shipping microservice. These are individual developed across all the teams, and each individual microservice are communicated by the REST APIs. And whenever the requester will request for any service or ordering mechanism, it will go through the API gateway, and I'll get with WTK, which is a JSON web tool, which is a secure token we'll assign to the each user. And using the API gateway, we'll just control to our microservice further. We'll send forward that particular request to the respective microservice. So this is the one way of controlling the one way of having a security to our microservice, to secure our microservice. Okay, and now here we are restricting one particular microservice which is having an API gateway. So as we know, we need to have like billions of customers. We are going to, but this one microservice will not be well sufficient in terms of load, in terms of memory, and all in terms of everything. So to avoid to have, we need to distribute the load as well to across the to better avail our service to our customers. So going to the next case, so where we have okay, sorry. Okay, so this is the use case how. So going back to this is the use case where again we call it as how we control the load. So here we are in this example. So here in this example we have an API gateway call as Zool. It's again Netflix Zool, which is a cloud platform Netflix Zool. It's open source purely, and what it will have is it will try to load balance the services what we get from the external client or external as a mobile or web or anything. So it will distribute the load and using a load balance with route robin. And also in terms of services, we don't have only one or two services. We have a number of services. If you see the previous example where we have accounting information and shipping, and just one of the case. So to get of their services, so each individual request will have its own microservice. So to discover those microservices, there is a Eureka service discovery, which will help to discover the services. So example, what will happen, right, when the customer requests for a online like login, like accounting information. So what the load, when it comes to the Zool, again it will send the request to service discovery Eureka, and it will identify where this API gateway don't understand where to route the request. So to make it more intelligible, the Eureka will discover the request and try to identify which microservice need to route, and just send the response in terms of to Zool, and then the subsequent request route to the end microservice. So this is the API gateway kind of use case, and usually the load balancing. And the same thing we can have here also like an access server. What we see in the previous slide, I didn't kept here as access service. We can develop the access service over here, which whenever we have a login kind of page, we'll go to the access service where we have this user have a credential kind of stuff. Again we can go for a third party, or you can go our own inbuilt microservice to control the users, to restrict the access. So these all platform independent, and we can develop our own service. And also we have our open source Netflix tool where it will load balance at the same time the service discovery, availability of the service. So this is about the API gateway use case. So if you have any doubt, then we go further slides for the securing, how we secure our passwords and centralized policy point. So Kapil, can you continue? Have any questions?
Yeah, I think do any of the members in the audience have any questions? If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask them, or you can even post them in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, I think you can continue.
So I will hand off. Yeah, I think Srikanth, will you continue it, or?
Yeah.
You want to be presenter, or you want me to present?
No, it's okay, Srini. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. And so myself, Srikanth, and I've been with Verizon from last 6 years. And thank you, Srini, for giving brief introduction about microservices and architecture. And now I'd like to mention in detail like how we adapt a technology on need basis. Like we have a couple of use cases as like Srini mentioned. So when we have a because we have a constraints in order to move to on cloud. So we are still in the on-prem services. So when we have in the on-prem services, obviously we have a kind of scaling challenges because of hardware, everything. So within the on-prem services, how can we effectively scale our applications? Number one, and how can we secure all the passwords and all the required information for the applications? So when we started looking into that, microservice architecture, and it is actually fully satisfied with our need, then whatever the REST APIs which we have, and we started implementing in the microservice architecture. So if you see here, like if you assume like all the microservices, for example, what are the REST API applications, whatever we have, and we are registering to the Srini, can you please go to the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you. So what are the Spring Boot applications of the REST APIs which we have? And
hey, Srikanth, can you just speak a little bit louder or closer to the mic?
Sure.
Yeah.
Is that okay now? Hello?
Yeah, that's fine. I muted myself, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, and what are the like REST API applications which we have? And we started like registering with the Eureka, where Eureka is a discovery server. And when our when our services are registered with the Eureka discovery service, so whenever we have it, we get an API call, and depends on the load, it has to route it to the idle server. So then we come up with the Zulu. The Zulu is a API gateway where it contains authorization, authentication, filtering, monitoring, all the kind of features at the same time load balancing. So then we started all the whatever the APIs which we register in the Zulu, and the Zulu we registered into the Eureka service. So whenever we get a call from the front-end systems or the KS or any external system, so the Zulu will take care of the load balancing, and based on the ribbon, like it will automatically do the round robin fashion, and whatever the services which are registered to the Eureka, so Eureka will discover the service accordingly, and all the calls will be routed to the servers or the services. So that is how we started step by step. And the next thing is when coming to the security, so whatever the passwords, like when we are using the DB passwords or for SFT passwords, whatever, wherever we see the passwords, all are like we have to secure way. Now we went with the like Spring Boot. We have a JITR, which is part of Spring Boot. So we adapted that one, and by using JITR, we encrypt the passwords, and we placed it into the application. Wherever in the applications we are decrypting the passwords while processing the data. And now what happened is like we have number of applications, like even hundreds of applications, and we have a policy of like a password every 90 days or every 120 days we have to change the passwords due to the security reasons, as you guys know. So mainly what is happening is, and when we do all this kind of activity, and it is taking much time, like 2 hours, 3 hours only, because so many applications are there, and we have to do it manually. Even though the team is using scripts, but still there are challenges because of manual. So what we thought is, why can't we maintain all the passwords? Because the passwords are different for the databases, and that is based on the environment, whether it's a prod, local, ST stage, all these kind of environments. So then we came up with a configuration server. We have already in the Spring Cloud, we have a technology like a config server where we can maintain all the passwords or the required information in the centralized location, be it in Git or in database or in the file system. And from there, the respective service, whenever it is required, it can call to the particular config server and get the password and decrypt the password in the application. So now, in order to maintain, again, because you will get so many requests from so many applications. So what we done is, whatever the configuration servers, we register with the same Eureka registry, and at the same time we configure the URLs, whatever we are using, into the Zulu, so that automatically whenever the application is required the information, directly it will go to the Zulu, and the Zulu will give the request to the respective service, and then based on the call we get all the passwords. Now with this implementation, all the secret keys, security information, all the things we are placing into the centralized location in a file system, and it's an encrypted file. Then the respective application, whenever it is calling to that particular service for the user, for the passwords, even the secret keys also we are maintaining in the centralized location only. So in order to decrypt the password, required a secret key, and the secret key also we are maintaining there. So it is like much more secure because we are not maintaining in our applications. And then we got one more thing, not only Java applications, because we have so many Python applications. And now again, the same thing. Whatever we implement in Java, why can't we implement for Python? Because Python applications also is a kind of like a 30, 40 applications and the same use case. So how can we adapt? Then we found like even in Python also, like Python 3.6 onwards, we have the provisioning like where we have a library which can directly talk to the Spring configuration server and get the passwords on the fly, like on the demand. So that is how we figured it. And the library, the Python library, which can support with this feature, so integrated in Python, so that even Python applications also no need to maintain the configuration, database passwords, or any application passwords in the system. So directly, even these things also we are maintaining into the central server, so that whenever the use case is coming to picture or the passwords are required, so that the respective application is directly calling to the Zulu server, and from the Zulu, automatically based on the request, and it will route into the respective server to get the information. See, this is how, like everything is based on the need. How can we achieve with a minimal effort at the same time? What are the things which are available already in the market with the open source? So this is how we started our journey, and integrating with the Spring Boot applications, be it is a REST APIs or Spring Boot batch applications, or even Kafka, whatever the application, doesn't matter, and everything we are maintaining in the single repository. And there is one more thing I'd like to mention here. For example, when we have one more use case, like where all the REST APIs, whatever we have, even few of the APIs we are exposing to the Excel system. So whenever we are exposing to the Excel systems, obviously again there is authentication will come into picture. So the calling party, whenever he is going to send the username passwords to connect to the particular REST API, and what we do is, like again the Zulu is coming to picture and it will route it to the respective API. So all we adapted like a Spring security configuration, and the applications which are exposing to the external systems. So we implemented a Spring configuration, and all the passwords which were maintaining into the database this time. So because like whenever I get a username password, and it will pass through the API gateway, because if I put the API gateway control, there are so many applications. So we can step ahead, and we are based on the application, and every application has their own requirements. So based on the application, we are maintaining all these kind of security things at the application level itself, so that there is no dependence on the application. And at the same time, so whenever we get a request, and it will do all the pre-checks and the filtering, everything coming into picture, and roles also coming into picture. And finally, whatever the password which we are again decrypting, and it is matching with the things or not. And based on that, we are providing this is like a kind of authorized service or not authorized service, and everything by taking up the open source technology and customized it with based on our requirements. Yeah. So Srini, can you please go to the next slide? Yeah. So whatever I mentioned, like in detail, like because of I mean, here we provided like what are the libraries which we are used in the Spring Boot applications. So in order to talk to the cloud config server, we required a Spring Cloud Starter config, and this is a dependency, and it's a part of Spring Boot even. And the JSIP also, so we adapted only the Spring Boot so that it is easy to maintain, and in order to avoid all the kind of dependencies issues, all these things. And the Python apps are from the 3.6, like Python 3.6, we got a feature where like a Spring Client library is available in the Python, so that we can, by using this library, we can integrate with the Spring Boot configuration server. And from the Python application, we can talk to the Java Spring Boot configuration server. And in Python, sorry, as Spring Boot, we don't have like an JSIP. So we have a crypto libraries in Python where we have written a customized logic to decrypt the passwords and based on the secret key. That is the libraries which we use in the Python. And as I said, like this is a with this approach or with this implementation, we can achieve a lot, like, and we saved a lot of time, and at the same time, no like gaps in between the deployments. So that is how we achieved centralized password management in our applications. Srini, can you please go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So apart from that, is Spring Security and the OAuth2, and at the same time, all the configuration changes. So for each and every Spring Boot application, which we followed the as per the standards, market standards, we are following the same 45 scan in order to check the security vulnerabilities, and so it is part of our Jenkins build job. So whenever the application is built, we'll get a reports. One is a 45 scan report where it can give the clear information about the security vulnerabilities, and the Sonar Cube is a kind of more or less it is even it is equals to the 45, but we are only focusing on the quality issues like code leakage, any unused variables, or any complexity algorithms. So these kind of details which we are getting from the Sonar Cube report. So accordingly, we are make sure whatever we are getting, and we are fixing on timing. That is one thing. And coming to the Black Duck, actually, so I mean, as is an open source, and whatever the libraries which you are using, the all by using Black Duck, we scan and make sure the risk analysis, like whether is as per legal, it is okay, not okay, anything which are needs to be required. So that kind of analysis checks by using risk analysis check, we are doing by using Black Duck. And so White Source recently we're trying to adapt and it is also similar to the Black Duck, the same job, and we are recently trying to adapt this one. And so apart like code coverage, like I mean everything whatever we are required to maintain to make sure our code has quality code, at the same time no memory leakages, and make sure everything is secured. At the same time, whatever the open sources which open source libraries which you are using, and make sure those are like authorized. So all these kind of steps which we are following apart from the password encryptions and the decryptions to maintain the code quality. Yeah, I think that's it for the session. So any questions? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we are done with the session.
Okay. So, do we have any questions from the audience? You can ask something specific to the session, the content, or something more generic to microservices as well.
Actually, I have a very basic question. So I just want to know, when people decide to use microservices and when not to use the microservices.
Srikanth, can you take this question or? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Srikanth, can you take that question? Yeah, you want to take one? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like okay. See, microservice architecture or the adapting the microservices is like it's really based on the use cases, and most probably, for example, when you go to the monolithic application, where everything you have in the one application, and if something is broken, obviously the complete application will be broken at the so you are losing so much time, and at the same because you have to again come back to that normal, and you have to do a lot of activities. But when you go to the microservice architecture, the main challenge or main advantage is here. Example, as Srini mentioned, so there are like each and every service you can create one microservice, so that if any one of the service is down due to some reason, and there is no impact on the complete business. So because inventory, service, it can take their own inventory related activities only. And whereas like accounting service, it will take only the accounting service related activities only. But if you go to the monolithic application where everything is in the single application, right? If something is broken, the complete application is down automatically, right? You can't provide the services to the any other respective areas. But in the microservices, it is completely different. And we cannot adapt the microservices like, blindly, I can say, because it is really depends on our need and our use case. So these kind of use cases, yes, we can go to the microservice architecture. And at the same time, like we have to be easy to ready market, right? If you go to the microservice architecture, if you take any use case, you can do with the current technology, and you can develop the application, you can host the application within a week. Yeah, because you are going with a small service. Each and every service is a application, right? If
Yes,
you go to the monolithic application, it is very tough to, you cannot give as per the market immediately.
Yeah, that makes sense, Srikanth. Yeah, thanks.
And one other thing that's Srikanth didn't mention is today a lot of applications are moving to cloud. So to achieve horizontal elasticity, meaning like if you want to have instantaneous increase in your infrastructure for taking up additional load. For example, some sale might be there on Amazon. I'm just taking an example. Some web page, right? You might want to have multiple instances of a particular service deployed. You don't want the entire application, but part of that application to scale horizontally. So when you get into a microservice architecture, it becomes a lot more easier to have multiple pods, spin up multiple pods on demand to take that additional load, right? So it's a big advantage, especially during spike requirements for certain activities that are required for the business.
Yeah, okay. So it's not possible with the monolithic application. We can't just scale up one particular service, right?
It's not that it's not possible. See, when you want to deploy an entire application and you want to scale it horizontally, obviously the cost is going to be much higher, right? Compared to what you want to do with a smaller set of services that you want to scale horizontally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Shyam.
Yeah. The Sham rightly said, right, Shashi, and the main reason is the resource utilization, right? I mean, so if you have monolithic, that can be possible, but when you have that lesser usage of particular component or the module, right, within that submodule, we can say that. So it's all about that resource utilization at the server level also. I mean, so it's IO, memory, right? When you have a lesser utilization of particular component, where you should not be clubbed into that on the single umbrella and make it as a monolithic, right? That is also one of the best examples. That's where we have to go with the microservice. Again, it's depending upon the use case.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thanks.
Anyone else with any questions specific to the session or about microservices in general? Have any of you dealt with what the session covered, or like worked with microservices yourself? And if you would like to talk a little bit about your personal experience there, about the security aspect of it.
See, the tools that both Srikanth and Srinivas spoke about, they're all like open source. So you can try them out on your own personal application, or right, so it doesn't cost any money. We found them very useful, so I think that's the reason Srikanth and Srini came forward to share it with the larger forum. And these are open source tools.